Alright, so I decided to do a series of workout videos. This one is on shoulders. I usually like to start with my shoulders. I'll go shoulders, back, chest, legs and abs, if I do abs, and then arms. I just structure it that way because it feels like I'm going from the top down. Also alternates between pushing and pulling, so when you're doing your shoulders and your chest, your secondary muscle is your triceps. So by putting a pull day back in between, it gives your triceps rest. And then, of course, when you do legs after that, it gives your arms a rest in their entirety. And you're able to, get a better workout. All right, I'm starting off with shoulder presses. I do them behind the neck. When I first started out, when I was in the 8th grade, I did them in front, but then I was told, no, that's not good. It throws you off your balance. You can fall backwards. So I started doing them behind the neck, and that's just how I've done them, for the last 30 plus years. I'm now told that, no, you're not supposed to do it. You're supposed to do it in front, but I'm too old and set in my ways. So the way I'm starting off with is a 35 pound on each side. The bar weighs 20, so 90 pounds. I did that for 20 times. Now, for light weeks, ideally what I would like to do is a warm-up set of 20. Then I add weight. Right now I'm adding a 5 to each side, so now I'm at 100 pounds. So anyway, that's ideally. However, I was able to do my 20 reps for my first one. But as you can see, I'm already struggling on this. And I do not do 15. I have done 15 with this weight before, but tonight it was just not doing it. So, given that I failed to do my 15, instead of jumping up another 10 pounds, 5 on each side, I added 2.5 on each side. And then I do that for the next set. And then once I do, I have my warm-up set, then I have 3 working sets, and then I have a cool-down set where I take it back to the original weight. So I added 2.5 pounds on each side, so I increased the weight by 5 pounds, so that's 105 pounds. And then for my next set, I'll add another 5 pounds, take it to 110 pounds, and then I'll drop it all the way back to 90 pounds. And if I know I can't get the number of reps that I want, I'll just go to failure. And going to failure in shoulder pressing is actually very safe to do because it's just going to come down on your shoulders and you can easily rack the weight. If you're working out alone, like I do, I don't go to failure on bench press or squats because it is extremely unsafe. But for something like shoulder pressing, it's fine. You can. The equipment I use, and I mentioned this before, it's all York Barbell. I'm from Pennsylvania. And while York is owned by a Canadian company now, the York Museum of Weightlifting and Bodybuilding is still located in York, and their outlet center is located in York. So, I love repping my home state. I love the heritage of York. They were once the biggest name in strength equipment. The one thing I've noticed is in watching this is that I'm off kilter. Like, my left arm isn't going up like my right arm, so I'm slightly off balance. Which is not something I can feel when I'm doing it. Like, to me, I just feel both my arms going up. I didn't but yeah, watching this is like, oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely something I got to work with. Also, you can see I have a drop ceiling. The 35-pound plates are as large as I can go and still be able to press overhead. And if you look during the one set, I actually hit one of the ceiling tiles with them. I've tried with the 50-pound plates, which are on my bench there, and I just hit the top of or I guess the bottom of the drop ceiling and knocked a tile. So for overhead pressing, I never go more than my 35-pound plates. Cool down, I don't, obviously, since I've done 4 sets already, I'm not going to be able to do a full 20 reps. So, once again, I just do as many as I can. And in case you're wondering, the reason why I'm wearing a chain belt is because that's the only belt that can fit me. I have lost enough weight that I get the chain all the way over, but I'm still not quite thin enough for, the extra large belt. So my shoulder presses are over, and I'm moving into side lateral rises. So for these, I'm starting off with 20 pounds. So I'm putting a 10 on each side. It's actually over 20, but I don't know how much the dumbbells weigh. And I also know that whatever they weigh is not going to be enough to round up. So instead of saying, this is 21.36 pounds, I just say 20 pounds. I follow the rounding rules. So yeah. And if you notice, I don't take breaks in between, other than however long it takes to add weight, subtract weight, or change over from one exercise to the other. And I do that because I think people take way too long in between sets now. I remember when I started out in the 90s, I guess technically the late 89, so the last year of the 80s. But when I joined my first gym in the 90s, it was a much different time period. Nobody sat on a machine. Nobody sat on a bench. You went, you got on, you did what you had to do, and then you got off. And also, somebody asked if they could work in. You let them. It was a much different gym culture back then. Because everybody realized this is a public gym. We're all due-paying members, and we all have the same rights to the same equipment. Nowadays, people treat commercial gyms like their own private gym. They'll sit on machines, scroll their phone. I got on one machine to start an ab machine to start ab crunches, and a guy came up to me who'd been doing kettlebell arm extensions, yelling at me saying that was his machine and that he was using it. I saw him, there was another guy who was using the pec deck machine. I was like, he just got done with his set, and I asked him if he was done. He was like, no. I'm like, okay. And then he got up and walked off. And that's one of the big reasons why I really, really like working out at home. Because I don't have to put up with any of that modern day gym nonsense. If I had the space for, more cardio equipment, I wouldn't go to the gym at all. I mean, at this point, the only reason I go to the gym is to use the cardio equipment. But for lifting, oh yeah, home all day, every day. Now, when doing dumbbell exercises, the smallest plate I have is 2.5 pounds. I don't have any 1.25, simply because I can't stand like half-pound weights. So something like, um, you know, only at like 22.5 pounds, like irritates me to no end. I like nice even numbers, so I don't have any 1.25 pound plate. So with the dumbbells, I have to increase them by 5 pounds each and every set, regardless. Um, so with the standing side lateral rises, I go 20, 25, 30, 35, and then back to 20 for my cool down set. Now what you're about to see, I have 30 pounds on there now, a 10 and a 5 on each side. And I'm going to do a little superset with side laterals and seated dumbbell shoulder presses, simply because that saves time, and I hit the weight that I want it for my shoulder presses anyhow to start out with. Now I'm going to admit, this was not a good workout. I was really unhappy with my performance. I mean, I know what I'm capable of, and I've done it because I've done it before. I did take last week off because I messed up my back the week prior. But 1 week off should not have dropped me like that. But still, it doesn't matter because, the thing is to do it. So as long as I am working out, as long as I'm doing my best, pushing myself as hard as I can, and doing the work, if I can't, throw the weight around like I used to, or like, what is normal, it doesn't matter because I'm still there. I'm still doing the work. I'm still putting in the effort. And that's the thing. That's one of the things weightlifting teaches you. It teaches you to, good day, bad day, it doesn't matter. You show up, you do the work. So, all right, there I'm at my 35 pounds. And this will be the last kind of superset between side lateral rises and shoulder pressing. I didn't realize that my arms were tilted that far down. This is actually really interesting, seeing myself work out, because I know, like, when it feels a certain way when I'm doing it, but now that I'm seeing it, it's like, ooh, it really? Huh. So, it's something that I definitely plan to take and work on in the future. Now that I can actually, see myself. To me, I feel the only real break I need is that of changing weights or changing exercises. I feel sitting around for like 3 minutes, especially sitting around for 3 minutes on top of the time it takes you to do the changeover, that's just too excessive. I don't like it. It feels lazy to me. And really the big thing is to keep the muscle under pressure to stir growth and strength. And so, yeah. And also, it just gets it done faster. This entire workout, from start to finish, was about 46 minutes. If I took a 3-minute break between each set, it would have been way over an hour. And yeah. definitely, you know, I am very much of the opinion of you get in, you do what you need to do, and then you get out. Um, Ronnie Coleman, Dorian Yates, Mike Mentzer, they all said about how they would only do like 45 minutes to an hour max. And, that sounds perfect to me. Now, I will say I have changed my training up a little bit. Because I used to do 4 sets per exercise. Now I do 5. Um, my goal is to always get about 30 sets total. I get that from watching Arnold, from watching interviews of Arnold talking about his training style. And that's another thing I want to go over with you. A lot of times we get into this guru mentality. We'll see somebody who is successful at something we want to be successful with, and we're like, oh, okay, I'll just copy what they do. And it makes sense. It makes sense. It definitely makes sense to a point. But you have to realize what they did worked for them based on their specific circumstances. And just because it worked for them, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Especially when it comes to something like exercise and bodybuilding or strength training. Because our genetics are all different between each other. And our genetics change over time. Our metabolism slows. At the point of shooting this video, I'm 49 years old. My body does not do the same things or responds the same way as it did when I was 19. Also, in case you've never seen any of my other videos, I'm a trans woman. I've been on HRT for 5 years, which means for the last 5 years I've been on a testosterone blocker and estrogen supplement. So, just besides age, my body chemistry has changed. So, yeah, I mean, seeing somebody whose body you like, if you're a guy, maybe like Mike Mentzer or Frank Zane or Arnold Schwarzenegger or Lou Ferrigno or Lee Haney, or I'm really dating myself with these references. Then, yeah, starting off with looking at what they did, their training, their diet is a very reasonable way to start. And if you're a woman, like I think right now we're in the golden age of female bodybuilding and strength training. I see a lot of great female physiques out there. And their names escape me right at the moment. I follow them on Instagram. Because a lot of them will post their workouts, and I'll get inspiration from that. Another one is Ida something. Another one who I'll watch her videos on YouTube here. She has the same first name as me, Shannon. But yeah. And honestly, I think the only reason I still remember all the men... Well, I mean, Schwarzenegger, of course you're going to remember him. He used to be the biggest star on the planet. But the other was just because, that's what I grew up with, and as a closeted trans girl who, never thought she would ever transition, those were just, I figured, okay, society tells me I'm a boy/man. These are men's bodies, so this is what I should look like. So those were the ones I tried to emulate, and didn't work out. Anyway, that's another digression. So yeah, I'm getting ready to do my cool down set for uh, seated dumbbell shoulder presses. So as you'll watch, the exercise I'm doing 6 exercises, 5 sets each for a total of 30 sets, which is, like I said, my goal. If you're just starting out, that's way too much. And in fact, I wouldn't even start off with body part specific lifting. I would do, honestly, if you're just starting out, I would say do a total body workout, uh, 1 set per exercise once a week, just until you build up the tolerance for it. And then add 2 sets per exercise, and 3 sets, and 4 sets, and then do 2 days of lifting a week, then 3 days of week of lifting a week, and then when you're comfortable with that and you're feeling good and you don't get the aches and the strains that you used to, then I would recommend going on to a body part specific lifting. Once again, I know that's poo poo now too. Um, you know, I think it's called the bro split now, of doing one body part per day, and it's looked down upon by a lot of the lifting scientists. But once again, that's just what I came up with. That's what I've always done, and I like doing it that way. I am not training for the Miss Olympia. I am not training for a powerlifting contest. I'm just trying to lose fat, gain muscle, and live as long as possible. So for me, the um, bro split. God, why do we need such gendered language? Anyway, the bro split works for me. Um, Now, I did go over my order: shoulders, back, chest, legs, and if I decide abs, as a combined, and then ending on arms. Every once in a while, maybe like once every month, once every 2 months, I'll reverse the order just to give a change up to my body, so it doesn't get too used to one specific routine. Just like I alternate between um, oh, light weeks and heavy weeks. Okay, so this exercise is another one that I'm told is a no-no now, and that's the upright row. They're good for working the side delts and the traps. Um, I'm using a wide grip on this one. That works more the side delts. On the next set, you'll see me use a narrow grip, and that works a little bit more of the traps. I always preferred the narrow grip because I get a better range of motion. But I found that I have less arm strain when I do the wide grip. So I think I'm just going to stick with wide grip. But I do both the wide and the narrow in this, just so you can see the difference, and I can talk about the difference. And then you can um, pick the one that you feel is best for you. Now for the narrow grip, for both the narrow and the wide grip, I index off the knurling pattern. So for the wide grip, I'll stick my thumb out and I'll put the end of my thumb on the inside of the on the inside knurling. And for narrow grip, I just put the inside of my hand on the, mash that up with the knurling. So, and as you can see, I am not using Olympic plates. If you saw my one video where I go over my gym equipment, I say explicitly I use standard plates because you don't need Olympic plates. Unless you're specifically training for a powerlifting competition or an Olympic weightlifting event, you don't need Olympic plates. your body can't tell the difference between a 50-pound standard plate or a 45-pound Olympic plate. There's the 40-pound plate, 5-pound plate is lighter. I should have gone 25, but yeah, your body doesn't know the difference between a 25-pound standard plate and a 25-pound Olympic plate. I'm using a 5.5-foot bar. It's 20 pounds with the collars. You can get a 7-foot long standard bar, which is about 30 pounds. And if you have one of those and you put a 50-pound standard plate on each side, guess what? You have 130 pounds, which is only 5 pounds off of an 7-foot Olympic bar with 2 45-pound plates on. And then if you go up another plate on each, so for the Olympic bar, be 2 45s on each side. Now you're looking at 225. But for the standard bar, you're looking at 230 because you have 50, 50, 100, 50, 50, 200, and then a 30-pound bar. So 230. So now you're actually above what you'd have as a Olympic plate. But I think Olympic plates have become so cheaply made, but not cheaply made, but so inexpensive to own that everybody just went to them to feel like they had that commercial gem, that they forget that, standard plates are a perfectly viable and, less expensive option. Standard plates are cheaper than Olympic plates. Standard bars are cheaper than Olympic bars. Standard weight benches are cheaper than Olympic weight benches. So, like I said, unless you're training specifically for a competition that uses Olympic weights, just stick with standard. Just stick with standard. They're cheaper. They hold up, and yeah. So anyway, I find it painful to look at myself. So the whole time I was talking, I was looking away. So it looks like I am done with that exercise. Now, whenever I am done and you see me like taking the big plates off, I'll shift the bar all the way over because the uprights are on the bench are close together. So when you put for the bench, when you put a 25-pound on each side or above, or with the squat racks, when you put a 35-pound plate on or above, the bar will actually tip. So to prevent tipping, I'll actually move the bar all the way over to one side. So the one end is completely supported. And then with the end that's hanging out into space, I'll take the big plate off that end. And that helps prevent tipping. In fact, it does prevent tipping. Maybe if they still made 100-pound plates, that would be a little bit too much even for that method. But with the 50-pound plates that York does make, sliding it all the way over does keep the bar from tipping off. And for squatting, for the squat racks, I can go with a 25-pound plate on each side, and the bar not tip. That's why I actually moved the bar to the back onto the squat racks from the bench. Just, so I could load the 25 pounds on. So, let's to go over. I did standing shoulder presses, which is what I always like to start off with. Side lateral rises, then seated dumbbell press, then upright rows. Now I'm doing seated behind the neck barbell press, also called a military press. And if you notice the theme, I jump between front delts and side delts. And I do that, that way each muscle group gets a little bit of a break. I'm not just like destroying my front delts all at once and destroying my side delts all at once. I will say, this is how I messed my back up 2 weeks ago. If you notice, I do not, there's no back support for doing these military presses. So I gotta kind of arch my back to keep balance. God, that's disgusting looking. Anywho, and yeah, I guess just the way I had my back arched, I hurt it, so I had to take a week off. So I don't like doing these seated shoulder presses, barbell shoulder presses, because there's no back support. But yeah. Now, if you have one of those benches and racks where you can like put the seat all the way up and have full support, this is actually a really, really good exercise. So, and with this, I started off with 70 pounds, and I didn't put 5 on. I'm just increasing it by 2.5 each time, because I don't like these, so I avoid them. So this is one of my weakest lifts, and so instead, I know if I jump up 10 pounds, 5 on each side, it's just going to cut my reps down to a completely useless range, unless I was specifically going heavy. But I'll go over that when I do my videos on my heavy lifting week. But right now, this right here is my light week. So, but anyway, I try 6 exercises, 5 reps. 6 exercises, 5 sets apiece, to give me 30 sets. And going to 30 sets, as opposed to like the 12 to 24 that I used to do, it's actually really helped. I've been able to put on some weight, like not on me, but on the bar. And it helps. It has helped with, regaining some strength and muscle mass, as opposed to just kind of like managing the decline. So for shoulders, it would be 3 pressing exercise, 3 front delts, which is usually pressing, but not always, exercises, and 3 side delt exercises. So this right here is my third and final pressing exercise. And then I'll get into my final side delt exercise for this session. And I do I don't do the same exercises every week. I do vary them. Like for shoulders, I do try to do the standing shoulder press, the seated dumbbell shoulder press, and standing side lateral rises. Those are like my 3 core for shoulders, and I do those for both light and heavy. But kind of the auxiliary exercises, I take and I change them up. But yeah, I was not happy with that. I think I get like 1, 2. Dropping down for my cool down set. Don't really have anything else to say beyond that. So The last exercise that I did was um, incline side lateral rises. So basically, I set the bench up at 45 degrees, and I laid on one side, and I did side lateral rises with my one arm. Then I would go to the other side and do side lateral rises with that arm, and I would add weight and do all that. And when I first started, I would lay the weight on my side and lift my arm up. But then I saw video footage of Arnold from the 70s, and he was explaining about how he did them, but he actually put his arm over and lifted that way, and it increased the distance that you lifted the weight. And so I switched to that, and I actually get a much better pump out of that, and much better muscle growth. Alrighty, I guess I'll see you later. Bye. Happy lifting. Be safe. Talk to your doctor and follow your doctor's orders. Bye.